We got the woods runner here. Yeah. We're going full military surplus today, guys. Pretty much. I was tagged by a good buddy of mine, David Pearson from Reallybigmonkey1. Now, I'm sure you all know who Dave is. He doesn't need any introduction from the likes of me. But he tagged me, and the tag is, you're 8. There's an 8-question tag. There's 8 questions asked, and I brought some of those questions with me here. I'm getting old and I got a short memory. I had to write it all down. Now, Dave wanted to know what my most memorable camp was. My most memorable camp. Well, that's easy. My first overnighter by myself. I was 10 years old, and I just got a tent for Christmas. And this is in the dead of winter, guys. And I just got this tent and a few other pieces of camping gear. It was a plastic tent. It was made out of plastic. I remember that clearly. But it was a tent, and I was pretty excited. 10 years old, my first tent, my first bit of gear. So I grabbed some camping gear and I stuffed it under my bed along with my tent. And I brought a garden hose in from the garage, and I stuffed that under my bed as well. Well, I lived right close to the woods, so I didn't have very far to go. But I couldn't get out of the house without sneaking out of the house. And my bedroom was on the 2nd floor. That's why I had the garden hose. So my younger brother John, I kind of brought him on it as a part of the conspiracy to help me with this thing. So after my folks had gone to bed, and everybody was asleep in the house, it was pretty late at night. Well, we tied that garden hose to the bed and out the window, and took all my gear and lowered it down on a clothesline rope. And I got to the bottom, and well, I proceeded to climb down that garden hose. That wasn't hard. That was pretty easy. It wasn't that high up. But so I got down and grabbed up my gear, and my brother John, he dutifully pulled up the garden hose behind me and stashed it back under the bed. And the plan was for me to get back before everybody woke up and noticed I was gone. So I grabbed up all my gear, rolled it up in a blanket, and headed off into the bush. I didn't go very far. I just, to be honest with you, I didn't go far from the road. But I went in there and I set up my tent the best I could in the dark. I did have a flashlight. And I set up the tent, and I actually got a fire going, because even back then when I was 10 years old, I was pretty handy at lighting a fire. So I got me a fire going, and sat there for a while, and laid down in my tent, looking out at my fire, and just fell asleep. Well, I don't know how long I was asleep, but I woke up pretty quick, and I was about half froze. Yeah, don't forget, it's middle of winter time. I don't know if it was probably in January or February sometime, and but I was so excited about getting my I just couldn't wait. I mean, I was a kid, I was so excited about getting my tent for Christmas, I just had to try it out. So anyway, yeah, I woke up half froze. I mean, I couldn't get the fire going again. I couldn't stop shaking, so I was pretty scared. And it was pitch dark, and the flashlight, I kept having to hit it to get it to go back on again, and it was getting pretty weak because to be honest with you, I fell asleep with the light on. battery kind of went dead during the night. So anyway, so I proceeded to take down my tent, and it was so dang cold out that the tent started to rip on me. I mean, literally the plastic. It was just made out of some kind of plastic material, and it just started to tear on me and crinkle and crack from the cold. So I just grabbed the whole mess, took it down, I rolled it up inside a blanket, stuck it up under my arm. I don't know what time it was just starting to get a little bit light out. And I made it back to the house, and I was throwing rocks at the window for my brother to wake up and you know, at least pull the stuff in through the window before my folks woke up. Well, I made it in the house because my brother woke up. He looked out the window. He saw me standing out there, half froze. He came downstairs and unlocked the door. So I snuck back up into the bedroom. My folks never knew. They never knew I was gone. Now, that's pretty good, I think. But that's my most memorable camp, for sure. I was about 10 years old, and that was my first solo overnighter in the woods, and my most memorable one. So there's that one there. Okay. Now I'll just move this poncho out of the way. Okay, guys. Question number 2. Do I prefer to camp alone or with a group? Well, you know, yeah, I prefer to camp in a group. I've spent a lot of time camping alone. Trust me, a lot of time camping alone, and you know, now that I'm older, you know, it's nice being able to share the experience with other people, you know, to get together, have conversation, and just to share the experience. So yeah, not only that, but you share the work too, so share the workload. But you know, yeah, so there's the answer to that one. What's my favorite knife? Well, you know, this one just is an awesome knife. This is one that I made. I've shown it to you, and I carry this knife more than any other knife. I built this blade quite a few years ago now. But that's not my favorite knife. This is my favorite knife. Hopefully that'll focus. And that knife there has about a little over a 5-inch blade. Has a pretty small handle. And I don't use this knife much. You can see it's all scratched up on the spine, maybe, from my striking it with a piece of chert to get a fire. Has a razor edge. Whew, takes a great edge. And it's great. It's a great hunting knife. But I don't carry it. And the reason I don't carry it is because, well, I use big knives. I use a bigger knife. You know, that's not a huge knife, but it's a knife I use in the woods. This knife would be a great hunting knife or a backup knife. The reason it's my favorite knife is because it was made for me by a friend. This was a guy that I helped get started in knife making, and he built this knife. This is his first solo knife that he built by himself without my help, and then he wanted me to have it. So it has a lot of sentimental value to me. so I don't use it much. But sometimes I'll take it out and just whittle on the back porch for a while with it. But this is my favorite knife, made by a dear friend. And I've got plenty of knives. I only use a few of them. Don't know why I have all those knives. But anyway, here we go. That's question number 3. What is my favorite knife? There it is. Oh, sorry, I was pulling a Lonnie there. Okay, question number 4. Reallybigmonkey1 wants to know, where did you learn all your bushcraft skills? Wow. Well, that's a multi-answer question right there. I don't really know. I mean, I learned a lot of my skills when I was younger from this guy named Morris, who helped me. He was just an older guy who kind of took some interest in a kid who was always in trouble, and took him under his wing and taught him some camping skills and how to use a knife and an axe. After that, I joined Boy Scouts, got into Boy Scouting. I did that for quite a while, but you know, and I became a scout leader later. But then I want to say in the late 60s, around 69, 70, right around there, one of my favorite books was a book by a guy named Richard Graves, it was titled Bushcraft. That was the title of the book, and it was by Richard Graves, who was an Australian survival instructor. He taught survival instruction to the Australian military, and he did a bunch, kind of like what Morris did. Morris did a bunch of booklets and stuff, and then created a book called Bushcraft. Well, that's exactly where all that came from, was from Richard Graves. He did a whole series of booklets that he produced, and they compiled all those booklets into a book called Bushcraft. And way before Morris wrote his book, which is an excellent book, and Morris is excellent as well. But long before Morris, there was Richard Graves. And then after that, a little later, after I got out of the military and stuff, I picked up a book by Larry Dean Olson. Larry Dean Olson is he taught survival classes in colleges. He'd take kids from colleges and stuff and take them out into the desert in Utah and places like that, and he would teach them survival skills. Now he learned by Larry Dean Olson. He learned from Paiute Indians and other Native Americans that still remembered those skills, and Larry paid attention, and he learned as much as he could. Then he passed those skills on as part of a curriculum at a college. Yeah, other than that, just I learn from other people. I watch other people, and they show me stuff, and I pay attention. If it's something I can use, then I'll keep it. I've picked up quite a few things here on YouTube from different people. My fire making skills were taught to me by Morris. I learned most of my skills about fire making from my friend Morris. He was the first one who taught me to make friction fire when I was pretty young, before I was really a teenager. And yeah, so how to build shelters and how not to get lost, mainly because I was always getting lost or turned around, it seemed like. But anyway, yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it, guys. A whole bunch of different people have taught me stuff over the years. I just stand on the shoulders of giants who came before me. I think we all do. So there you go. Just so you guys can see it. Keep your eyes open, guys, because according to some people, I edit this somehow. Maybe this is where I do the editing. Well, some guys like to go like this. I don't know. There's some fire. Oh. Okay. That's all there is to it, guys. I forget the number of these questions now, but that was my favorite way to start fire. So there you go. Dave, I know you're pretty good at this yourself. I've seen you do it. I don't know if this is your favorite. Well, no, actually, I don't think it is. Alright. It's my favorite way to start fire. Boy, you guys get around. Okay. Where was I? Most essential piece of kit. That's a tough one. Well, certainly a first aid kit would be considered essential for some folks. I don't know if you're wandering through grizzly bear country, I don't know, maybe a shotgun with some slugs and some double-aught buck would be considered your essential. For others, just some bear spray. Yeah, essential. Some people would say a compass. Well, you know, all those things can be important, you know. But for me, not my cell phone, because half the time I don't have cell phone service out here. But this is called a spot. See that right there? That's a spot. Now, as long as I've got 3 satellites overhead somewhere in outer space, this thing will get a signal. I've been down in canyons and sitting in a canoe and been able to get signals with this. Most of the time when I'm out, I don't have cell phone service. Cell phone's a good thing to have with you for sure. But for me, when I'm in the backcountry and I'm miles from anywheres, a spot is great. With this, if I'm on a canoe trip, I do take a lot of canoe trips, and when I'm gone for sometimes weeks at a time. So every evening, my wife can go online, because when I get to my campsite at the end of the day, there has an OK message, and I can send her an OK message, and she can go on Google Earth and see right where I'm at. You know, not in real time, but she can see right where I'm at in Google Earth, because this will give my location within about 20 feet. That's pretty dang good. Now, it also has, if I were to get bit by a rattlesnake or break my leg or just get totally lost or something, then it has a panic button here, where you have to flip up this little deal here. You push the button, you hold it down for about 10 seconds, and it sends a signal to search and rescue. It doesn't send a signal to home, but it sends a signal to search and rescue. And using the GPS, the satellite coordinates, then they'll come and locate you and pick you up and hopefully save you in time. But this helps them to find right where you're at within just a short distance. So yeah, a spot for me that's an essential piece of gear, because if all goes wrong out here, I've got this. If for no other reason, it's peace of mind for my wife to let her know where I'm at and that I'm okay. Like I said, I can send her an everything's okay message. And it has a tracking too, so it can track you if you wanted to use that. I never used the tracking in it, where it just kind of can show on the computer, on the Google map, your actual travels, but I don't do that. So yeah, this is a good piece of gear to have, and it's never let me down. I've never not been able to get a message to my wife when I've had to. And like I said, I'm sometimes canoeing for weeks on end, and I might be down inside a canyon or something where you know it's a couple hundred feet to the top of the rim. It doesn't work in slot canyons, but if you're on a river and you're down in a canyon and you can satellite can see you, then yeah, it can pick up that signal and transfer it to, this is an account you have to, I renew this every year. We just automatically renew it. I think I can't even remember what it is, but I can tell you this, it's good insurance. So that spot, that's my most essential piece of gear. There's so many others, of course, the knife, the first aid kit, the compass, the this, the that. I don't really use a compass very much. I have one, but I don't really use it because I pretty much know these mountains around here pretty dang good, so I don't usually have to go to it. But anyway, so that's the answer to that question there. What was that? Well, this is a Firebox Nano stove, and I enjoy cooking over this little Firebox Nano. I take this on backpacking trips with me, and I've used it in areas where it wasn't recommended you had a big fire. So I just get a little fire going with this, and you can feed it from the bottom here, which is kind of pretty clever. You just got to keep feeding it, and it throws up quite a bit of heat. And this is great if you're just boiling up. You can't, well, you could cook some hot dogs over it, but that's about it. But if you're just doing mountain house meals or other freeze-dried meals, or cooking a soup or something, it's not a bad way to go. Little Firebox Nano. I don't like the gas stoves. I think the question was, do you prefer alcohol, wood, or gas stoves? Well, I prefer wood stoves. I have 3 different wood stoves. One's a gasifier. It's a Bush Buddy. That's a nice little stove, but it won't fit into my butt pack. So I take this little Nano. It folds up, fits in a little pouch, rides right in my butt pack. So pretty handy. And getting some, I'll let my friend know that getting some use out of his my favorite knife today. And so yeah, there's the answer to that question. Let's see what else we got here. See if we got anything left. Oh man, I think I already covered the most essential bit of kit. I'm kind of doing this out of order again. Do I keep a bug out bag in my car? That's the last question here. Actually, it looks like it's supposed to be whatever it is, whatever number it is. I'm losing track. But anyway, do I keep a bug out bag? No, I do not keep a bug out bag in my car. For what? I'm not going anywhere. I mean, I can see if you're live in the city and you might need to get out in a hurry or something like that. But out here in the country, we pretty much plan on bugging in. So I do keep gear in my, I keep a shovel, I keep an axe, I usually keep a backpack, and I usually have my M1956 web gear sitting in the back of my Bronco. So yeah, I do keep some gear in there, but no, I don't actually have a bug out bag. Sorry to say. But anyway, guys, this has been a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing this, and I'd like to say thank you to Dave for tagging me in this. Thank you, David Pearson RockEastwood2. If you haven't checked out his channel, check out his channel. Dave's an awesome guy. Alright, I'm going to tag 5 guys. Here we go. I'm tagging Edgewood Outdoors. He's a good young man. He takes his family on camping trips sometimes, and he does some backpacking and hiking videos, and he's been doing some hut tent videos lately, using hut tents. So yeah, Edgewood Outdoors, you've been tagged. Akdriller. I got you, Akdriller. You have been tagged. I want to know what your 8, I want your answer to your 8 questions, and whatever it is. And then Bushradical, Dave. Yeah, Dave Whipple. He's got a great channel. He's growing all the time. You might know Brooke Whipple, his wife. The two of them were on the Alone show. Dave, you've been tagged for your 8 questions there. So same 8 questions, you guys. RockEastwood Outdoors. RockEastwood Outdoors. That's Rocky. Rocky's a good guy. Check out Rocky. He's fairly new to the bushcraft community. Check him out. I'd like to give him a shout out too. He's a great kid, and he's got a great channel. So check out RockEastwood Outdoors. That's Rocky. And Scoutforlife. Yeah, fellow Boy Scout. Yeah, that's. We're kind of lifer type Boy Scouts. We're just never going to grow up, are we, bud? Okay, so check out Scoutforlife. Check out his channel too. Hey, amigo, you've been tagged. Your 8 questions. So you guys, yeah, the 8 questions, and I'll put them all down in the description so that you guys don't have any excuses saying I didn't make it clear what they were. Well, I'm sorry, as usual, this has been a rather disjointed video. I tried to keep it kind of, well, not really, I'm lying. I didn't try to keep it short. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you joining me today. This is Woods. You take her easy, but take her.